Hi everyone, welcome. So this is just a quick introductory video for Fahrenheit 451, kind of where everything's located, expectations, and how the unit's going to flow. So if we look in the left nav bar here, we scroll down to Unit 5, so that's Fahrenheit. So the very first thing you're going to see is a read folder, so that's where you're going to see the novel. So once you click onto that link, it's going to take you to the actual novel. Right, so here's the novel, 79 pages for the PDF that it's in here. But the cool thing about Fahrenheit is it's in 3 sections, so it's not really in chapters. It has a part 1, part 2, and a part 3. And they're not terribly long, so that's actually the nice thing. It is technically kind of a shorter novel per se. So that's a great thing. So you have obviously the novel located here. If you're like me and you don't love sitting at the computer reading and you want a book, there's several used book websites out there that you can order a book from. I think you could probably order one for like $2. You can also, if you have a used bookstore in your area, you could do that as well. You also could borrow from the library. Those are kind of your options if you don't want to read on the computer. So, but now that you know where the actual book is, so just like Midsummer Night's Dream, we had a reading schedule that's kind of a suggested reading schedule that I want you guys to follow and how the unit will flow. It's the same with this. This is kind of where you're going to be each week, what we're doing, assignments associated. So if we look at when we're actually starting to read the book, it's not going to be until the end of that first week in week 13. So we're going to start reading there. There's one real quick pre-reading assignment due that week. Most of that week is going to be you reading content pages because there are quite a few content pages for you to read that week and a lot of background information and things like that. In week 14, we're going to do a Fahrenheit 451 Introduction, and then we're going to continue to read. I will tell you, just like Midsummer Nights, we don't have time to read the entire novel in class. So there will be specific sections and parts of the book that I think are really important that we're going to pick those, and we are going to be reading those sections. We are also going to be, just like Midsummer Nights, we're going to be watching some of the movie as we read to kind of get an idea of how things flow. So, and I know some of you love that. So by that second week there, you should be done with part 1. And then I'm always going to give you a catch-up day, which is going to give you a little time to catch up on your reading if you're behind. So for assignments, the way it's going to work is we do have a book burning assessment, and that's a whole different thing that you'll read. And there's an instructional video to explain all of that. So that assessment will be due, and then we have a journal reflection that also will be due on this Friday. I will tell you the journal reflection we will discuss in class. The book burning assessment, I will briefly talk about it, but we will not be covering it in class. It's going to be something you're going to be doing on your own. More reading. We should have another catch-up day here. You are done with part 2 by week 15 on that Thursday, and then you have another reading catch-up day on Friday. And then there is another assessment for Dover Beach, which Dover Beach will make a whole lot more sense to you, but Dover Beach is a poem that is in Fahrenheit 451 and that we also are going to take a brief look at, and you will have an assessment over that as well. Week 16 by the Thursday, you should be done with the book in its entirety. That's the day that I will be introducing the project to you. There is a project associated with this, and I've kind of mentioned it a little bit, I think, in Class Connect. But we will discuss, and you can start the project on this date. That last journal reflection, there are 2 journal reflections, and I don't know why, but there's a part 1 and a part 3. So it's a part 3 journal reflection. This is part 3 of the book. There's no part 2. We're not doing a part 2. That will be done or due this Friday. And then there is an extra credit opportunity. It's a generational interview, which there is an instructional video to that, and I will briefly chat about that in class as well. But there's an extra credit opportunity. And then that last week, the entire week, you will have to work on the project. I will tell you that we are going to do an introduction to the project, answer any questions there. And the first 3 days of the project here are going to be mandatory working sessions. Day 4 will be an optional working session. So just so you're aware that you will be required to attend Class Connect those days and be working on the project. It would be like you were sitting in class working on your project. So that's kind of the gist of how the unit is going to flow. It is a great book. I think you guys are going to really like it. Most of the students who leave the class really find a great connection to Ray Bradbury and some of he's really insightful with some of the things that he has predicted or had predicted that would come true, that actually did come true. So we're going to chat about all of that stuff. But it's a great book. And it's one of my favorites, so hopefully it will also end up being one of your favorites as well by the time you're done reading it. So just to show you really quick, this is how it all flows down through there. And so that's it. So if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and have a great day.